Do you work or volunteer for a nonprofit? And are you looking for ways to improve your organization, but don't know where to start? Well, you're in the right place. I'm Sarah Marion, and welcome to Athena Advisory's Insider Tips. Get ready for a crash course in nonprofit know-how. Each week, you'll get access to insider tips straight from those who know best. Join us to learn something new, no matter if you're seasoned pro or just starting out. Let's dive in. Our first ever guest is Dr. Jeff Williamson, Converge CEO, executive coach, mentor, podcast host of Leadership LevelUp, Gallup-Certified Strengths Coach, author, and one of my great friends. Hi, Jeff.
Good morning. So nice to be with you. Appreciate it. I didn't know this was the first one. I'm so honored. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yeah.
It was actually perfect because I've been talking to a lot of nonprofit leaders, and one of the main concerns that they have in
Mhm.
their role is time management.
Yeah.
And I think of you as the time management guru because you even wrote a book about it.
True. Yeah. Thank you. I don't know if guru is true, but I'll take the kind words for sure. Yeah, it's something that's been really natural to me over a long period of time to just be kind of an organizer type person, and so I like to keep things in their place and think about priorities and blend that into my schedule. So that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about ways that leaders should be prioritizing their time?
Mhm. Yeah, there's a lot of good methods out there that you can find, but for me, it's been going back even to my college days long ago, of mapping out my days ahead of time. So, dedicating certain times to my calendar, whether that's work, exercise, free time, renewal time, all those kinds of things. I build those into my calendar. Of course, back in the old days, it was a paper thing, and now it's all in my phone. So I can color code and get all funky with
Yeah.
that. So I really block out my life, not just my work.
Yeah. And so you titled your book The Power of 168. Can you talk about what
Sure.
that means?
Yeah, the short story is that I had a conversation once with a grad student who felt like she just didn't have time to do the degree program she had just started. And through that conversation, what the number came up like, hey, 7 days, 24 hours a day, we all have 168 hours. So the question isn't, I don't have time to do this. It's like, what's filling your days? And then it becomes a matter of priorities and hard decisions as to where we spend our 168.
Yeah, I definitely starting a business have had challenges with that, but just blocking that time is so important. So what would you say one of the biggest challenges is to actually managing your time?
Yeah, I think, we all know of having a to-do list, right? And we just add and add and add and add and mark off and mark off. And I get that. And I do that kind of a grocery list. But I think when we take it to a more intentional level, then it isn't just this endless, never get it all done kind of list. So I really think in terms of time buckets where, there are things that I have absolutely got to get done in the next week. There are other things that I'd love to get them done, but they really only need to get done by the end of the month. And so if I have this week, this month, 60 to 90 days, and I have so on. I have buckets that I can put different projects in. So it isn't that I've just forsaken those and left them out there like one of these days I'm gonna.
Yeah.
But to still, it is scheduling time, even if I say I know I'm not going to get back to this until after Memorial Day, and I just have to be at peace with that because, especially in nonprofit leaders, this, Sarah, from your experience, it never ends. The work is always there, and so it can feel like everything is urgent. But when we can prioritize and say it's important, but these 4 or 5 things are truly urgent, these 4 or 5 things are important and they matter to me, but I don't have to do them this week. And so we have to maybe get a little more granular as to what goes where on our calendar.
Yeah. I just finished the book, the oldie but a goodie, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People.
Oh,
And
wow, the favorites.
I mean, it's just a gem. And so one of the biggest things that is reiterated is to plan your week, you know, on Saturday or Sunday for the following week and focus on, you know, what's most important. Is that something that you do to plan your week ahead?
Absolutely. Usually on a Sunday, I look at the whole week to come and kind of get my game plan, my pregame, hat on, so to speak. And then I do that each night. And it's not a laborious, hard, difficult thing. Maybe 5 minutes the night before I look at my calendar, I look at each day of the week coming up and just kind of refresh my memory, remind myself the things that I need to get done and the things that receive my time and priority.
And if you don't get them done, they get transferred to the following week and you put those things at the top of your
Yeah.
list, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, whether a person's using their calendar on their phone or they're using a software like Asana or something that's project management, is you can assign due dates to that. And sometimes I have to say, "Whew, that's scheduled tomorrow. Not going to happen. So it's next Wednesday."
Yeah,
Right. And it is, I realize it is a luxury for the things that we have that we can independently just say, I'm moving that the next week, because there are times that somebody else is pressing us for a deadline or a
sure.
project. And we
Yeah,
have to work with that, of course.
yeah. And I was going to ask, do you use an Asana or do you use your own calendar for your projects and your time?
It won't surprise you to say both, that I say both.
Okay.
So I have my brain in my pocket, my phone that happens to be Google Calendar, but for all of our business stuff, we use Asana. So all the projects, all the podcasts, all the edits of videos, everything is dropped in Asana with due dates and notes as to when it needs to be done, and then tag collaborators that are partnering with me to do that piece of the project.
Yeah, and like anything else, I think Asana is something that you just have to make a habit. You know, I've been really trying to prioritize using Asana. It's something that is new, but it's worth the time to really get focused on using it for sure.
It really is, because it isn't just, and the benefit is it's not just my schedule and my projects, but it's my team and people who are working on things for me. They're working on things for Converge. I can see where it's at. I can see who's working on what. And so it's this collective and collaborative way for us to keep on top of where everything is on a project.
Yeah, and we say Asana, but there's several different
Oh, yeah.
programs, Trello, you know, Microsoft Teams. There's so many different kinds of the software
Right.
they can use that's free even. You know, I use the
Yeah.
free Asana,
Yeah.
and it has some great features. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it
It's kind of
helps.
like whatever works. If a
Yeah,
person tries some different ones, use the free version and go, that one's not for me. I'm going to try this one. But any of them, you kind of have to break them in a little bit, or, it takes a few weeks for it to be. But now for me, it's just automatic to just think, oh, I got to go put that on Asana, or else so and so is not going to know I need them to film that day at this event.
right, right. So what advice would you give, maybe the first tip to somebody that's really struggling with that time management?
Yeah. For me, the first thing that comes to mind, and this is referenced in the book, is attaching your schedule and your time with values. So when we do that, then that kind of helps clarify the priorities, and vision values is something that we talk about in the book. So, if something's, I mean, there may be something that I want to do, but it doesn't connect with one of my core values, that I say, hey, this is what I'm about. This is who I want to be. That means it can be secondary, even if I get to
Mhm.
it later on, but something that's like, you know, close to my heart, consistent with my values, consistent with who I try to be in the community and individually, then that gets top rating as far as where my time goes.
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
So to kind of close, can you
Mhm.
share, and I'm putting you on the spot here,
No, no problem.
your favorite book that's guided you and your leadership? Uh,
Yeah, yeah. I might say two or three if I could get away with that. You asked
sure.
me the book. I mean, the one you mentioned, I mean, literally 20 years ago, started using the principles of 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's timeless. So that one's an all-time favorite. Another one that I've grown to love and I've shared with many people is a book called Chase the Lion by
Ooh,
Mark Batterson. And he really speaks to what are the things that we're afraid of, and rather than running from things that take courage, that we can, he really talks about overcoming fear and chasing after those things that we want to do or want to become. So it's that idea, rather than running from the lion, we chase the lion. So that's another real favorite for me.
Awesome.
So
Well, that's really all I've got for you today. You've really
thank you.
shared some great quick tips that people can put into action right away. And that's the whole goal of this program that I'm trying to achieve here. So thank you for
Thanks for having
being my first guest ever.
me. So honored. Thank you.
Yes. And so can you share with everyone where they can find you, how they can use your services, anything else that you'd like people to know?
Sure. Yeah. My company Converge is on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. You can also follow me personally, Dr. Jeff Williamson, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, or you can just hit me an email and the address is jeff@convergegroup.io, or go to our website, www.convergegroup.io, and there's lots of information. You can reach out, connect with me there too.
Well, thank you. And I'll include all those in the links below. But again, I appreciate all of your time, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day.